You may want a copy. It may take a while to finish the thing.
Hi, David. I just wanted to let you know that we do all have our class at 2:50. So if we could end the meeting around 2:40, that would be great.
Okay. Are you all together? Or are you going to be signing in on different accounts?
We are on two different computers, and I was just trying to share a slideshow. It said the host disabled screen share. I don't know if you have the ability to allow me to share.
I do, so it should be your account.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. 1 second.
Mr. Sam.
All right, I'm gonna say.
All right, Jenna, I am working on this screen sharing thing. 1 second.
Okay, sounds good. And we are all here.
Okay, you should be good to go now. Give me 1 second. We're still trying to work out a screen in this office for the presentation, so give me 1 second. All right, I think we should have everyone in. Appreciate everybody's patience.
Are we good to start?
Mike, and Will, are you with us?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes. Jenna, you're good to go.
Okay. Good afternoon, council members. First off, I just want to thank everybody for attending today and for your time. We are all so eager to share our thoughts and ideas with you today about the Village of Glendale's communications plan. My group members and I have constructed new and innovative ways to improve the village's communication mechanisms. So to begin, we're going to start with some introductions. I'm Amanda Lefkowitz. I'm the graduate student leader of the group. Within our group is Caroline Baxley, Jenna Marin, Molly Trelishak, and Therese Jones. We're all super excited to talk to you guys about the village's communications plan.
Amy said in the chat she can't hear us.
So the timeline of our project is includes basically now until late April. Late April is when our project should be completed. To reconnect the village and ask for it. So overall, we would to on the main page.
Wait, I'm gonna jump in. I don't know if you can hear me, but Amy's not the only one who's having sound issues. Amanda, you're cutting in and out. David,
Okay.
is there anything?
No, I'm experiencing the same thing for you, Amanda.
I wasn't having problems until we started the chat. So it could be because we were chatting that we were interrupting the audio.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have
I mean,
Amanda-
Amanda's feedback, but
okay, we're gonna try to have Amanda speak off of my computer and see if that works.
okay.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll just restart this. So the timeline of our project is basically we have until now, until late April to complete our project. We would like to revive the website, which includes adding a clear spot for contacting village officials, specifically a tab on the main page for this feature. We also want to add a feedback column for residents through the website. I think a great way to connect the village with village officials. And then on top of it, we want to revamp the social media and actually introduce social media through the village. So specifically using Facebook platforms, Facebook, maybe even Instagram. So under Facebook, we wanted to add a mentions tab on the Facebook feed. This would allow community members to post and review and highlight anything that they're interested or if they have any questions. So ultimately, in the end, we will provide you guys with a full report and presentation outlining the following: why it's important to revamp the website and social media platforms and create these social media platforms, how we will create these social media platforms and revamp the website, and how to maintain these forms of communication. We will also include comparisons to other similar sized villages, and this will allow us to make sure that we're keeping up with what everybody else is doing as well. So here's an example social media post. This would be kind of the opening post on a social media platform, whatever you guys would choose, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, where it stays with the colors of Glendale, the themes of the village of Glendale. This is just an example post. Here's another example social media post. This would be kind of for the events, an events calendar post. So here we can see different meetings outlined, what times, what days, just so everybody is informed on when these occur. Here's another example social media post, basically to look out or sign up for the email newsletter that's sent out every once in a while. So this is a good way to inform residents when an email newsletter is sent out and what to look for. And here's an example of a feedback post where people maybe can post what they want to hear about, what they want to see from council, or what they want to see from the village. This is a great way to get residents involved. So this is going to lead us into our discussion. We would like to hear any concerns, thoughts, or suggestions that you all have. We'll definitely be taking note of this as we construct our policy report and our final presentation for you. So I'm going to open the floor to anybody who has questions or suggestions.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Can I just, this is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
When you decided to focus on Glendale, on communications in Glendale, how did you come to zero in on the website and social media? I ask this because we're in an active conversation here in the village as we speak, questioning how many of our residents are going to benefit from increased presence on the website or social media and the website versus some other way. I don't, text lines and things like that. How did you zoom in on those two areas, or is that just a function of the design of your study?
I would say that this is Jenna speaking, by the way, and I would say it's kind of both. In part, just our own background experience and research with other villages, trends in the industries, and things like that. Also paired with an initial meeting with David and Mayor Lofty that suggested those as well. And so we have now kind of solidified that those would be a good path to further research. But our research obviously is not concluded because our project is basically just the research portion of this. And so we're still in the beginning stages of that, but we kind of got to those solutions through our own research and our own experiences, plus David and Mayor Lofty's suggestions.
So to add on, I'm sorry,
Hi.
Nancy.
Go ahead, David. I'm sorry. I won't interrupt you. Marilyn, when you have a moment.
So I just wanted to kind of go off of what Jenna was saying there, that the villages, or Mayor Lofty and I got involved in pursuing social media as an opportunity for this group because it's something we don't currently have, and it's such a unique form of communication compared to our current email newsletter and direct mailings and phone calls and those sorts of things. And there was some kind of unknown factors about it. So this team was a good opportunity for us to investigate those and set up a plan for proceeding with this if we wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, David,
Yes.
this is Marilyn Duke. Yes, I was wondering if the presenter could give us some ideas, some indications of what other villages or municipalities they have worked with in setting up social media and websites.
So I can answer this about the experience of the team, and I'll let you guys chime in as well, Jenna and Amanda. So Miami University, Professor Arbuckle reached out to Mayor Lofty and I about potential capstone projects. So this is a group of students who are studying things like public administration, strategic communication, those sorts of avenues. So their work, this is not a consultancy, this is not a firm that we've hired. They are volunteering their time and effort as part of Professor Arbuckle's course. So their work is to accomplish sort of those research goals and set up a framework that we would then move forward with and refine going forward to meet our needs even more specifically. But this is, I don't want anyone to like misunderstand. This is not some kind of a consultancy situation where they have a breadth of experience in setting up social media for a number of communities. This is a capstone project for the university, or for Miami University, that these students are completing for us.
And I just wanted to add that our plan and our research, we have been looking to other villages of similar sizes just to get an idea of what is working for them, looking at their engagement in relation to their population, things like that, just to see what works from them with their social media presence and see what we can maybe take from that, use, adapt, incorporate with the Village of Glendale. We plan to contact also with the heads of those communities, just to see if their community and their members have benefited from this presence of social media, if it has allowed for more engagement, more information, more discussion with their citizens. And so that's just kind of where we're looking towards other communities for input and research ideas. And this is Caroline, by the way.
This is Amy. I am really sorry. I had some trouble with my sound for like the first 2 minutes or so. I was just wondering if you could really quickly summarize what I might have missed as you started your presentation, as far as what you've done so far, and if this is based on interviews with residents yet, or just, sorry, could you just quickly catch me up to speed there?
Hi, Amy. I would say that we just talked about how this is a semester-long project. It's looking to be completed by late April. We went over some example social media posts and how we would like to revamp the website. And we would like to introduce social media to the Village of Glendale, specifically Facebook and Instagram. And we are reaching out to residents. We are actually in the process of reaching out to residents. We have heard back from many of them. Some we are still in works with creating meetings. But yes, we are in touch with residents to get their input.
Is there general information from other communities or sort of rough data on engagement in communities that have more of a social media presence? Are they seeing a significantly higher proportion of the population who seems to be involved and engaged in the process?
We're in the very early stages of kind of figuring that out in our research. That'll definitely be highlighted in our policy analysis at the end of the semester. But we are currently in the interviewing stage of interviewing residents, getting their input and creating ideas of what we can see on on social media in the future.
Yeah, so the purpose of today's meeting, the team wanted to introduce the project and where they're heading into the future with council. They are keeping the mayor and I updated with weekly status reports as far as what they've accomplished and what they're going to pursue in the next week or two. So yeah, the purpose of today's is really just to lay the groundwork, and then future reports and presentations will be given to give an idea of where they've progressed and how they've succeeded.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
So we actually have a couple questions. That we would like to hear from you. The first question we have is, what is the most important information that you feel the community needs? Anybody is welcome to chime in and give us their input on these questions, but we'll start with the first.
Okay, I'll jump in. Once upon a time, I thought the most important information the community needed was the things that were flowing out of council and the decisions that were being made. And then I would think that the most important information, if it's not that, has to be emergency information. But I've shifted entirely after we've listened to some of residents. And I think that the most important information the community needs it can be classified into the category of what about me? It's all about what about me issues. It really comes down to individual residents. So I've got my garbage is not picked up. How do I need somebody to help me with that? My neighbor is throwing stuff out the window and there's junk. It's all about, it really is focused individually. So it's kind of hard. And in our case, we've got an interesting demographic of some older folks who might not be completely comfortable with social media. And how do we address that? So that was a long way of getting around to addressing the personal issues across demographics. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your input.
I think something important, I don't know if it's the most important, but related to village council, I think there's sometimes a little lack of clarity about exactly what we do or how to find out what that is. For example, the council is really fairly quiet during a council meeting, and just understanding the role of that, and when is it that we really speak and engage with residents versus we're just listening now. And along with that, like where to get information. In the past, it would not have occurred to me to go onto the village website and read minutes from committee meetings. Now I know, because I'm 2 months into now my experience as a council member. Now I know that's what you do. You can go on and read the minutes, but how people can inform themselves, I think is a helpful piece to think about.
This is Marilyn Duke, and what's important turns to me on from whose perspective. And as a resident, I would consider what's important is being able to go to the village website and find out what's going on in the village, who to contact if I need help with whatever I need help with as a resident, be it public services or getting information or whatever. And I think that going to the village website should provide some basic information across the board to everyone. I'm also cautious of social media in as much as it has really been used inappropriately. And the villagers have been cautioned about it. So I'd like to hear a bit more about the village going to social media officially. I don't think, to my knowledge, the village government has done that. Yes, there are numerous social media outlets for residents, but those are voluntary for residents, and none of them are endorsed or sanctioned or supported by the village government, to my knowledge. And if I'm incorrect, then I'd like to be informed. What social media sites is the village officially supporting? So this notion that you're presenting of going to social media and expanding our presence through Instagram and Facebook, I'm very curious and would like to hear more about that. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jenna. Just to answer kind of your follow-up question there. So yeah, to our knowledge as well, the village is not on Facebook, Instagram, or any social media. And so our suggestion is that that does become something. So they do get a sanctioned, supported Facebook page, official of the village, and potentially an Instagram as well. So that is just a suggestion that we have raised and received support on your end, or support of the idea, at least on your end. And that is kind of what we're conducting research on. We have just found that most towns and villages do have social media presences these days. And we know that you guys, the goal of this project is because you have a desire to increase your communications with residents and to improve upon that. And so we thought that that is a great idea and suggestion, considering a lot of people are utilizing that. And we think that that is just another way to be in communication with residents. However, again, we are in the early stages of our research. So whether or not that is feasible and a great idea and for sure going to happen, definitely still far from that decision. We are just kind of working on the research behind it and why we think that would be helpful.
So part of that, the direction to start going towards social media is one that everyone is aware of, the groups that exist on Facebook that are related to the village. And to answer your question, Marilyn, no, none of them are officially monitored by the village. The Neighborhood Watch Group was by Chief Warman, but I'm not sure if Chief Walsh is involved with that or not. But the resident discussion groups are not maintained by the village. They are resident run entirely. And going to social media was an opportunity, or was seen as an opportunity for the village to reach residents where they communicate with each other in an attempt to work our way into that conversation and that communication, so folks can rely on us being present there, as well as our other communication methods that we use now.
I would like to make a comment. This is Mike Bessel. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I'm down in the village office, so I just wanted to make sure that the microphone was picking up. So I'll start off for our college students that I'm quite the dinosaur with technology, so my questions may seem archaic. But we have our village website, and most of the information is there, and that works pretty good, and you have to go get it. The important information has already been mentioned: what's going on in the village, what happened in the meeting, that's the minutes, what happened in the council meeting, that's even on video. I need someone to help me with something. I either call the village office, and they're very responsive, or I can email any of the officials, whether it be a council person or the person in charge of public works, or any number of people, police, fire. There we even have the officer on patrol telephone number. So to me, you know, cutting edge tech is my cell phone. So I wonder what advantage is there to utilizing social media other than I can assume that some people prefer to use that versus the website, which is also accessible on your phone, et cetera, or they prefer to use that versus sending an email through their phone. And then my second question is, for those of us who are not on social media and are concerned about the way social media can cause issues within a community because it gets people fighting with each other sometimes over a computer screen, and if you're not face to face, that's easy to do. It kind of shows towards some of the social ills that we experience today. But if we do have social media and communication begins to take place there in a big way, for those people who are not involved on social media or have a social media account, a Facebook or whatever, does that leave them out of a lot of discussion potentially, where if we maintain what we have and update what we have, everyone has access to that?
I think that, you know, as someone, so I'm in the 40s age group. I am a user of social media, just one. I try not to let it run my life, but it is a very useful tool for me. So I'm thinking of people in my demographic, those who choose to use Facebook or Instagram, having the village be on there, I think would be very useful. And I think it would elevate engagement and information, a sense of connectedness and feeling of home and understanding how things work here and all of that. I do think it's important to keep in mind Glendale's demographics. They are not American average demographics. We have, you know, our general population is just older than what the average is. And, you know, for the most part, that also comes with a decline in preference probably for using social media as a way to engage. And I think that that older population is more in tune to like word of mouth and the old way of just calling someone up and asking them the question if you don't know. So I sometimes see this disconnect between, say, a young person who's moved in or is just coming to Glendale, and they put out a question on Facebook about some practical thing about brush pickup or something. And someone will say, oh, just call David, for example. And they're like, well, who's David? I don't know who David is. Whereas so many of us who are plugged in here, we know who's who, we know who to call about certain things, but newer people don't have that, and they don't have the benefit of history here that people who have been here for a while and maybe the older population have. So I just think it's good to keep in mind that I think this really could elevate engagement for a portion of the population that chooses to use this. But again, it's not going to be our only thing.
Okay, thank you for your input and your feedback. We definitely want to move on to our next question, which has there been any feedback from the community on how they receive their information? So specifically, I guess, has there ever been any criticism about what the village is doing currently? What have you guys heard?
Well, we had a couple of hours, well, an hour and a half worth of feedback formally a week or so ago. And we all get, I'm sure feedback as we're moving around the village, but we got a fair amount of feedback at a town hall meeting recently. David, I don't know, do you want to wrap that, or somebody else? I don't want to monopolize this.
And the videos out there, I think, through ICRC. And as soon as the minutes are approved from that meeting, they'll be posted. So those will be available for them to see live and in person virtually.
But
Yeah,
again, it reflects Amy's point about demographics, because the attendance at the public meeting was skewed toward, how do I say, really old folks.
Not really old, but older than average folks. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think for the Miami University team, watching that would be a good idea. I can forward you a copy of that link. It is on YouTube. The video gives you an idea of some of the comments that folks were making about communication in the village. And I think that one of the things that was mentioned was making sure, and Amy touched on it, was making sure that the messages are the same, but that the mediums are different, and that the mediums try to reach as many people as possible. And the village goes out of its way as much as we can to include everybody, but make sure that that information is universal, no matter how we're reaching somebody.
Okay, great. We will definitely check that out. David, if you could send that over to me, that would be great when that's up. But our next question is, what do you all hope we accomplish this semester? And what is the most important issue that needs to be communicated that we should tackle?
Actually, I think you rolled past one other bullet, and that was using social media as a communications method. And I just wanted to toss in, I promise I'll stop after this, but I wanted to toss in a question, whether you have thought about mobile apps. Have you run into any communities that use mobile apps? I mean, that seems like just a win-win.
Should we take that as a follow-up? They have 3 minutes until we have.
Got it. Okay.
For them to go to school.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I skipped the question because we have class, so we have unfortunately have to wrap up shortly. But we haven't looked into mobile apps, but that will add to our list to check out and research on. I don't think that's something that we really even thought about, but we'll add to our list and we'll look at it.
So this is Becky. My hope that you can accomplish this semester is at least give us some kind of direction about how to think about all the different avenues of communication, because we heard many things, as you'll see in the video. And how does social media fit in with snail mail, fit in with robocalls and all that stuff, so we can understand potentially how to segment out the types of messages and the venue in which they should be delivered.
We will definitely do that. In the end, we're going to create a policy report that we'll go over, and we'll be giving a presentation on this policy report with examples of what we're thinking and what we hope will be instituted and used. And we're definitely looking forward to beginning that and sharing that with you. And lastly, who else within the village would you recommend that we reach out to? We are currently reaching out to residents. We reached out to you. Is there anybody else that we're missing in our puzzle?
You mentioned reaching out to residents. Are you including businesses and retailers doing business in the village among the residents? Are people you're reaching out to? Are you also including the nonprofit and civic organizations that you're reaching out to? Are you including the garden clubs, which may or may not be organized? Glendale has distinct civic organizations and a host of garden clubs and several nonprofits. And I'm just wondering, once again, will you be able to reach out to these entities or groups?
Yeah, we definitely can. We haven't, but we definitely can, and we appreciate that feedback. David, could you send me some of these contacts? In case I'm
Yes.
unable to find them?
Yes, noting the time, I will send you a spreadsheet that we maintain of businesses and civic orgs in the village.
Okay, great.
And-
And David, you might also want to provide them with the directory, the telephone directory.
I will try to figure out a way to get that to you up in Oxford. I don't know if you guys are ever around town or not, but if you do have anyone specific that you're looking to get in touch with, reach out to me. I can help with that.
Okay, sounds great. Again, if anybody has any other answers to these questions or any other suggestions, please feel free to email any of us. We would love to hear from you. If there's any final questions, we are going to wrap up because we do have class to get to. Please email us. It was great sharing all of this with you, and we're looking forward to improving the communications plan at, in the village, and we're looking forward to starting this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you all. And the video of this will be up on the website either probably tomorrow. In the meantime, if there's anyone listening that has questions, feel free to reach out to me by phone or email. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.